Ian Lees-Galloway's been trying for a while. I'll give him the call.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to pick up from where Dr. Jackie Blue left off. Her point was that we can't just address the harm caused by alcohol through legislation, that we have to do it through other measures as well. And nobody in this House would disagree with Dr. Blue on that, I don't think. That there has to be a range of responses to the harm caused by alcohol. But one of the responses is through legislation. And this is an opportunity which is going begging. And it's not what is in the bill. Tim McIndoe spoke about the fact that a large number of the Law Commission's recommendations are in the bill. They are, and they're good, and I'll certainly be voting in support of the bill. It's a step in the right direction. But by no measure can it be called a reform bill. It is not a reform of our alcohol laws in New Zealand. It is a very, very timid turn away from liberalisation. We've had decades of continued liberalisation. Yes, this is a step away from that, but a very timid and a very small step away from that continued liberalisation. And it is a real disappointment to all the people who have been lobbying, who have been working so hard in this field, who made submissions to the Law Commission, who made submissions to the Select Committee, who have lobbied individual MPs, who have presented us with the evidence. It is a huge disappointment to those people that this government has brought an alcohol bill that is nothing more than a timid slowing down of the decades of liberalisation that we have seen. Why do we need real reform of our alcohol laws? Well, The Economist produced a table, a drug harm index, and it showed the relative harm of different substances that people take recreationally: alcohol, heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, tobacco, cannabis, GHB, butane, all the way down to magic mushrooms. And right at the top of that list for harm caused not only to the individual who consumes the substance, but harm caused to the wider community is alcohol. And it's not ever so slightly at the top of the list, it's way out in front. Way out in front of all those other substances. Now, that doesn't mean it's not possible for alcohol to be consumed sensibly and safely. Thousands, millions of New Zealanders do that, and we shouldn't curtail their ability to do it. And the Minister said this is about striking a balance. Yes, we have to strike a balance. Some countries dabbled with prohibition almost a century ago, and that was an abject failure. That was, Mr Williamson, an absolute failure, and we wouldn't want to go there. We have to get the balance right. But the balance in this legislation is tipped too far towards the alcohol industry and those who are too nervous to really take on genuine alcohol reform. A better balance needs to be struck. And that is still possible. It is still possible. I know that National Party members will be under the whip and will not, at this stage, are not planning to vote for the measures that are going to be proposed that will truly strengthen this bill. But I urge those members to continue, even at this late stage, their discussion with their leadership, and I urge all other parties in the House to support those amendments that will genuinely strengthen this bill and make it a true reform bill. I heard, as I was travelling to the House today, Kevin Haig talking about the Ottawa Charter and how that establishes the environment for good public health. And that's what a lot of these amendments are focused on today. It's not about trying to clean up the mess after people develop an addiction to alcohol or overuse or abuse alcohol, but actually trying to create the right settings and the right environment in which the right attitude towards alcohol is developed. And we can do some of that through legislation. Not all of it, but we can do some of it through legislation, and we have the evidence that tells us what are the right things to do. So restricting the availability, restricting the advertising, increasing the price, lowering the legal alcohol limit for driving. All of those things are meaningful and have an evidence base behind them, Mr Chair.
In Lees-Galloway.
Have an evidence base behind them that will actually do something about the issues we have with alcohol in this country. And we have the opportunity to do much, much more than we are doing in this legislation at the moment. I would like to just touch on something which I will come back to at the appropriate time, but it's because Jackie Blue raised it in her previous submission that I'd like to raise it now, and that is the aspect of the Minister's supplementary order paper that deals with alcohol areas in supermarkets. I'm not convinced that it's quite all that it's cracked up to be, and I think we need a more thorough examination of it. Because my concern is that there is a loophole in the way it has been worded that will allow the alcohol section in supermarkets to be right next to the entrance, so that it's something that everybody has to walk past. They may not have to walk through it, but they may have to walk past it. And if that's an incorrect interpretation, then I'd be very pleased for the Minister to clarify that so that we know what we're voting for. And I certainly won't be voting for that aspect of the Minister's SOP until we have that clarification. If that is the case, I'll gladly support it. But if it's not the case, then I think we just need to take a closer look at it. But I certainly will be speaking in support of and voting for those amendments proposed by my colleagues in the Labour Party, by the Green Party, and some of the amendments proposed by the Māori Party that get the balance right. Because the Minister is absolutely correct. This is about striking a balance, but the balance is in the wrong place right now, and we have some work over the coming hours and days to get the balance right, Mr Chair.
Did you call? Oh, Honourable David Parker.